Welcome to No Team Site Left Behind, where I'll be showing you how to take advantage of some of the latest modern features in SharePoint and bring them to existing SharePoint team sites. This session is really a very condensed version of a longer breakout session that I'll be delivering tomorrow at 12:45 p.m. And in that session, I'll have an opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into the details. So if you're interested, I encourage you to attend that session. I'm Tejas Mehta. I'm a program manager on the SharePoint team. And I spend a lot of time working on building great experiences that bring SharePoint and Office 365 groups together. In this session, my hope is that you'll walk away learning a few tricks that you can employ to bring modern experiences to your existing team sites, and also get a sense for what's coming pretty soon from a roadmap perspective. That sound good? All right. Okay. As you might have noticed, over the past couple of years, SharePoint has been on a bit of a modernization journey, starting from the classic look and feel from not too long ago to what you see today with modern list and library experiences, modern page authoring and web parts, news, and a whole slew of new experiences. And of course, as we've been sort of evolving these experiences and iterating on them, they've all been accruing to Office 365 groups. As well. So, and that really culminated in a couple of really big moments for us over the past year, in that every Office 365 group gets the benefit of the full power and collaboration of a SharePoint team site, and vice versa. Every SharePoint team site gets the benefit of a connection to an Office 365 group. So we're here today where every group gets a site and vice versa. But we still have to acknowledge the entire universe of existing classic team sites. There are millions of these team sites in existence today in SharePoint Online in the service, and they power collaboration for millions of teams, and they house tons of content and tons of data. Now, given all of the modernization and group integration work that we've done over the past couple of years, you might be wondering if you're out of luck if you want to take advantage of some of those modern experiences in your existing sites. And there's a lot of inertia here. You don't want to necessarily migrate all of your SharePoint properties to new sites. That involves a lot of, can be taxing, time-consuming, and very expensive. Or you might have turned off some of the modern experiences, or you might be falling back to some of the classic experiences because certain features aren't supported or weren't supported in the modern experiences quite yet. For example, metadata-based navigation. But in this session, I'm going to show you that there are modern experiences that you can add to your existing sites, and you can take advantage of these today in your own environments. So that's all I have by way of slides. I really have like a bunch of demo that I'm going to walk through. And again, session tomorrow where I'm going to dive into deeper details if you have any interest. Switch over to my demo machine real quick. Show up okay? All right. So I'm going to start here with a typical team site that you might be familiar with. It's really nothing fancy. It's a collaboration site where people are coming together to build content for field sales representatives for a fictitious Contoso travel company. You'll notice that on the home page that there's a document library web part. In the quick launch in the left nav, you'll see that there's a link to a SharePoint site. So really there's not much else to see. It's a pretty vanilla team site here. I'm going to click over to the document library for this site. But before I dive in here, there's an entire session tomorrow morning dedicated to geeking out on lists and libraries. Lincoln Damaris is giving that session. So I'm only going to provide a little bit of the highlights here, but if you really want to dive deeper, there's a full session. I encourage you to go check that out. So this document library experience might already be familiar to you. It's the default one, unless you've explicitly turned it off. And one of the nice things about the modern experience is that the document library can be so much more than just a dumb file store or a shared folder. And there are a number of things that you can do to get a ton of value out of the document library itself. For one, you can select items in your document library and slide out the details pane. And right in line in the document library itself, you get to interact with a pretty rich preview of the document. You can scroll down and see all of the metadata. You can edit the metadata right here in line as well. There's some permissions information as well as recent activity on the file. So right in the context of the document library itself, I'm able to really quickly get additional information about content in it. We also have the ability to have a great one-up preview experience that you might have seen in some of the demos earlier this week. We support over 270 file types including 3D models like this one here, where I'll kind of pull this up and you can engage with it directly right in the browser without having to open up a native application to kind of modify, to work with this particular file. And I can do this right in the context of the document library as well. So again, more than 270 file types that are supported here for one-up previews, including medical imaging. The list goes on, the different types of files that you can take a look at. So additionally, I can show you that if there happen to be some documents or items in this list that you want to draw attention to for the team that you're collaborating with, you can select a particular file and you can pin it to the top of the document library. So it's a really great way to draw attention to a specific file that you might be collaborating on. Again, sort of increasing the value of the document library right in this context. Now, of course, if you're familiar with lists and libraries, one of the key values is the use of metadata to organize and help people find the right content at the right time. And you'll see that this document library, I'm going to scroll down a bit, has a pretty rich set of metadata with various different column types. So I can show you right here in this modern library experience, I'm going to go and add a choice type column here. And I'm going to call it level of effort. And it's a choice type. I'm going to give it 3 different options here. High, medium, low. And you can see, again, right in the modern kind of column creation experience, in line I can configure this column. I can always go back and edit this later. And once I'm happy with the configuration of the column, I can click Save, and it will show up in this particular view. Now I can modify this view, I can move columns around, I can go back and make edits, add additional columns. When I'm happy with this particular view, I can go and save the view for everyone to see, or I can save a different version that people can go and select. So for those of you in the audience that might have astutely noticed, there's this little red dot that appears here in the view picker. What that is the items needing attention feature. And before I kind of dive into that particular view, I'm going to scroll down in the document library. And I've got a column here, a geo, which is a metadata column, managed metadata column, and it's actually marked as required. So we highlight a bunch of items that actually require this information. It's a great way to kind of highlight information that you might need to add to the document to make sure that it's kosher from an information management perspective. But if I go back to the view picker, I can go and click on files that need attention, and across the entire document library, I get a single view of all of the files that require this additional metadata. So I can go and click on any of these particular items and then go and add the specific metadata that's required. Again, all in line, modern experience, and it resolves right here as well. So now, if you had a large list of items and or metadata, it can be challenging to filter down to specific items. And that's where filters pane comes in. So let me open up filters pane. Let me go back to the broader all documents view. So filters pane really gives me, I've kind of showed this up. So filters pane gives me the ability to go and whittle down to specific content that might be of interest to me. There are various columns that are here that I can sort by, I can pick, modified by. But the neat thing is I can go into the document library, and for those of you that relied on metadata-based navigation and were forced to use classic experiences in SharePoint, you can now go ahead and pin specific columns to the filters pane. You'll see that it shows up here, and I can actually use metadata-based navigation right here in the modern experience. So there's no more requirement to have to go back, fall back on classic experiences. So that's a really great improvement. All right, so that was a quick tour of the modern list and library. Again, check out Lincoln's session tomorrow morning if you're interested in more details. So what else can we do in terms of adding modern experiences to your existing team sites? Well, let's go and have a look at the pages library. I'm going to go and add a modern page to my current team site. I'm going to go to the pages library, click on new, site page. I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually build a great looking page that you can use to help communicate information to your team, whether it's news or announcements, or capture other information from within SharePoint or beyond. So let's go name this page hello Igniters. And I will add an image to this page. Let's pick this one. If my mouse will wake up. Okay, there we go. Add the image. Once the image sort of pops up here, I have the ability to sort of specify the focus on it right here on the page itself. So now I have this sort of blank canvas where I'm free to create nice content for a page that I want to set up for the site. I click on the plus button here, and it gives me a selection of different web parts that I can pick. From. So there's an entire toolkit of web parts that you can select from, and it's a growing list of parts and connectors that will deliver over time. I'm going to pick, it also provides you with the ability to select layouts. So I'm going to pick a 1/3 right column layout, which helps me lay out the page a little bit more simply. And I will add a news web part. So the news web part's a great way to aggregate any news that you might want to share with your team. Whether it's announcements or other information that you want to convey. I'd created a news post a little bit earlier, so you see that here. On the right-hand side, I'm going to add a quick links web part, which is a great way to add a set of curated links so for quick reference for people that hit the page. So I'm just going to quickly add a link here to a list in the SharePoint site itself and call it rep roster. And there you go. Now it'll pop up there in the quick links section. So I've added a couple of web parts already. So I'm going to go down below here and add a couple more. But first I'm going to pick a layout for this section. I'm going to also pick a 1/3 right column layout. And in this half of the page, I'm going to add a site activity web part, which is it's a web part that actually surfaces recent activity that's taking place in the SharePoint team site across files, lists, and pages. And they kind of show up in this nice card view. And on the right-hand side, to get to parity with our classic team site homepage, I'm going to add a document library web part to the page. And just like that, in just a couple of minutes, I've now created a modern page for everyone to consume on your site. I could go back to the pages library, and I think I called this one Hello Igniters, if I recall correctly. I can go and select that page and actually set it as the home page. And there's some value in setting a modern home page for your existing team sites in that you can consume it using the SharePoint mobile app. The mobile apps on iOS and Android do a really great job of rendering modern pages in a native way, so you can consume the web parts and other things that are on the page. So I think that's sort of the nutshell walkthrough on adding modern pages to your existing team site. And you can also take advantage of news that you can consume across various SharePoint assets, including SharePoint Home and the mobile app as well. So what next? I want to talk about group connection. So I hear there's some buzz about a feature called Groupify that people have been talking about this week. Some bobbing heads here in the audience. So groups you've probably heard a lot about. So groups provide a really rich diversity in the way that you can collaborate with your team, whether it's in email in Outlook or chat in Microsoft Teams, or whether you're using Planner for Kanban boards. So irrespective of which tool you happen to be using, it's all driven by membership by an Office 365 group and Active Directory. So it's basically a federated set of identities that you can then share across all of these services. But the nice thing is SharePoint is also included as part of the group, and it acts as the content service that delivers files, pages, lists, and other data to all of the other applications that you use. So irrespective of the tool that you're using, SharePoint is the content service. So I'm going to go back to the home page that we started with, and if I happen to be the site collection administrator, I click on the gear icon here, and you'll see that there's a menu item that's exposed to me now, connect to new Office 365 group. I click on that, and I'm presented with a splash panel that tells me a little bit about what an Office 365 group is, and it tells me what is going to happen once I kind of go through the flow. So let's get started. The next panel here requests some information, metadata about the new group that's going to be created. We actually smartly pre-populate this field based on content based on attributes of your SharePoint team site. So we've pre-populated the group name as the same name as the team site. Because this group gets an Exchange mailbox, you can specify an email address for that, for the group as well. You can provide additional information here, but I'm going to go and select private for the privacy setting for this group. Now, the instant I click on Connect Group, what's going to happen is under the covers, an Office 365 group is being created in Active Directory. And I have an opportunity here to go and add additional owners or other members to the group so that they have access to all of the group's resources. So I'm going to add Jeremy and Adam as members of the group. I click Finish, and I land on a new homepage for my existing team site. The cool thing here is that you can quickly get some hints as to whether this is a group connected site or not. You'll see that you have a header that says private group in it. In the header, you'll also see a link to group conversations that will take you to the Exchange mailbox for the group. There's a pile of faces that we refer to as the face pile, which is basically the members in the group. And as the site owner, I can add additional members or change their roles within the group right here in line in SharePoint without having to leave. I can click on the gear icon here and go to site information. And because this is a group connected site, I'm presented with information that actually spans the group as well. So I can make changes to the privacy setting here. I can set classification for the site and for the group. So I'm going to mark this one as internal only and click save on that one as well. Well, an error happened there, so I'm going to skip past that one. So you can assume that you can set a classification that accrues to the group as well. I'm going to draw your attention to the left nav here. Our left nav control in sites are also smart, and they're able to determine whether there are other group resources. I don't know why that just happened. Let's go here. Go back to the home page. Click on Edit. All right, I'm not sure why that's falling back to classic mode. But if you'll believe me, if you click on Edit, it's aware of all of the different group resources, and you're able to pick whether you want to add Planner or Calendar or other group resources to the left nav. You'll see that the Conversations tab is already here in left nav. So speaking of navigation, if I was to go to the document library here, we're working on integrating the new group card. So much like the people card that exists today, where you get information about specific people, we're going to do the same work for group card, where you'll get information about the group card. There'll be the ability to kind of navigate across the different group resources. I think because this site is actually this group is being newly created, it's taking a little bit of time. So let me pop that up onto this particular group. So you see a group card kind of pop up. You have the ability to navigate to different group workloads. You have the ability to see who's in the group. So that's group connection. So I think the last chapter of my demo here is really around the work that we've been doing with Microsoft Teams and bringing some great SharePoint experiences to Microsoft Teams. So as I mentioned before, SharePoint is the content service for all of Office 365 groups, and that includes Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to switch over to a team real quick here, and I want to surface SharePoint content here in this active team channel chat that's going on right now. So I can click on the plus icon here, add SharePoint pages. And once I log in, I'll be presented with a list of pages from the team site. So I'm going to select the home page for this site, click on Save, and as soon as that happens, the home page from SharePoint is hosted right here in the context of Teams. This home page happens to include a Planner web part, so it's a really great way to surface SharePoint content and Planner content and other sort of content across the suite right here in Teams and keep it in context. I'll click on the Files tab, and much like the file preview experience that you saw in SharePoint, you can interact with 270 plus file types right here in the same way that you were able to do back in SharePoint in this nice one-up preview. You can engage in chat conversation around that as well. So I think there's one last thing that I wanted to show you before the session ends. And you'll notice in this particular site, Teams shows up in the left nav. And again, you can add group resources to the left nav because it's groups aware. But I'm going to go and add a news post here. And I'll quickly pick a small image. Add the image. Add a little bit of text. As soon as I publish this news item, we have a news connector that's connected to the team service. And I flip over to the team chat right now, and you can see that SharePoint News actually published an item right into the team chat. So you can see the news post is linked here. You see the thumbnail image come through, and you can right away inline start engaging in conversations on the teams. So that was my whirlwind 20-minute demo for bringing modern experiences to your existing sites. Hope you enjoyed what you saw, and if you are looking for a detailed information, again, I have a longer session tomorrow. We'll dive into sort of the innards around site permissions, group membership, things like policies, sharing capabilities, and the underlying mechanics of what we do when we connect to Office 365 groups. I'll hang out here for questions if you have any. Thanks.